stories that are making headlines not just nationally but also globally. And today we will tell you about different angles on these two top stories that we will be tracking. Number one, Air India must be answerable to all those passengers who have lost their loved ones in the crash. Air India must answer on back-to-back technical snags and the failures, the hydraulic failures that their airlines have been facing. And also, Air India must be answerable to those passengers who pay a hefty amount to travel via their airlines only to remain stranded. The aviation crisis, ladies and gentlemen, is unending. Just today, there have been at least 5 incidents of technical snags and hydraulic failures of flights being grounded, and we'll get you inside the details of what all snags have been reported. Meanwhile, what has also been reported are back-to-back bomb scare threats on multiple flights, and the latest being that of an Indigo flight that was grounded in Kolkata. We will also take you through the other big story that we are tracking, which is the Iran-Israel conflict, which is unending. There's no respite that is in sight. There have been damage, destruction and loss of lives in both Iran and Israel in what is now being seen as a tit-for-tat strike. And with the massive escalation of the conflict, are we on the brink of World War III? How are the world leaders reacting to it? We have the top focus on the agenda-setting stories, the top main stories at 6 p.m. today. Let's get started first up with the top story. Ladies and gentlemen, Air India, known as Maharaja, is completely losing on its name now. This after back-to-back incidents of technical snags, hydraulic failure and a lot more. Let's first take you through the 2 major incidents that have been reported today that left passengers worried, stranded. Now the visual that you see on your screen is from the Ahmedabad Airport. Air India today cancelled its Ahmedabad to London airline, that was AI-159. The flight was originally scheduled to depart from London at 10 p.m. on June 16 and arrive in Ahmedabad at 9:20 a.m. on June 17. But it departed at 11:16 p.m. from London on June 16 and arrived in Ahmedabad at 1:24 p.m. on June 17. It was rescheduled to depart from Ahmedabad at 3 p.m. but later it was cancelled. The official statement is what they say. The preliminary probe in the report on today flight cancellation says that the AI-159 Ahmedabad to London was flying with minimum equipment list. As a result, the passengers were stranded and this is their ordeal.
ये फ्लाइट कैंसिल क्यों हुई? आपने कितनी बार ये फ्लाइट कैंसिल हुई है? आप कब आए, कितने बजे आए? आपका परिवार भी आपके साथ आया है, कुछ बताएंगे?
I booked a flight on 14 June because we want to back in London on 14 June. But on the 13th June, I got an email that you have to cancel this flight because of the atmosphere and weather. So they messaged me, emailed me that you have to reschedule your ticket. And on the, they emailed me that you have to reschedule on 17 June. I got email on 12 p.m. in the morning that your flight is cancelled. 17 June flight cancelled. So my husband is there on the window and he's doing that. We want to do new flight and they are doing.
तो यही सेम फ्लाइट पहले 2 बार और भी कैंसिल हो चुकी है?
हाँ, 2 बार हमारी ये फ्लाइट कैंसिल हुई है और एयर इंडिया कोई जवाब नहीं देते. हम मैसेज भी करते तो इतना होल्ड होता है, हमको 15-15 मिनट होल्ड रखना पड़ता है और हमको सामने से भी अच्छा कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आता है एयर इंडिया में से. अब हम लोग अभी अगली बार से एयर इंडिया में आने वाले नहीं है.
हम इधर आए तो बता रहे थे कि फ्लाइट है वो डिले हुई है 3 आवर्स. सो हमको 1 PM की जगह 3 PM का टाइम दिया और अभी जब टाइम बोर्डिंग का आया, अंदर जाने का है, चेक इन का टाइम आया तो वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि अब फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई है. सो वो लोग अच्छे से रिफंड का भी आंसर नहीं दे रहे हैं. हम लोग कॉल सेंटर में बात कर रहे हैं, वहाँ भी कोई भी कॉल रिसीव नहीं कर रहा है और वो लोग यही बता रहे हैं कि हम आपको 10-15 दिन में रिफंड कर देंगे.
Did they tell you what is the reason behind the cancellation of this particular air?
Actually, when we reached here, there are 3-4 persons from the Air India Airlines, and the reasons stated by them are different. There are 3 persons who are here to respond, and each and every person is giving a different reply. One is saying that there is some technical issue. The second one is saying that there is a delay in the flight to reach here from Delhi to Ahmedabad. Therefore, today takeoff is not possible, and other reasons are being stated which are not plausible.
Now, you heard what the passengers had to say. They were stranded. They were upset about the services that Air India was providing them. This is just one incident. Another Air India flight, this time from San Francisco to Mumbai via Kolkata, suffered a technical snag in one of its engines, forcing passengers to deplane during the scheduled halt. Now, flight AI 180, a Boeing 777-200LR, landed at Kolkata at around 1:25 a.m. and was scheduled to depart for Mumbai at 2 a.m. However, during its scheduled halt, a technical snag was detected in the aircraft's left engine, delaying its onward journey. At around 5:20 a.m., an announcement was made on board asking all passengers to deplane. The aircraft's captain informed the flyers that the step was being taken in the interest of flight safety. Visuals from Kolkata Airport showed the aircraft grounded on the tarmac with airline personnel inspecting the faulty engine. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, it was just yesterday when Air India Dreamliner AI315 flying from Hong Kong to Delhi returned mid-air due to suspected technical issue. Now, the aircraft was a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, the same model that was involved in the recent Air India flight crash 171 near Ahmedabad that killed over more than 200 people. Now, in a separate incident, British Airways flight BA35 bound for Chennai was forced to return to London after a technical fault. Today alone, there have been 5 Air India incidents that have been reported. Let's take a look at what are those 5 incidents that have been reported. We'll take you through the first set of incidents that has been reported. Remember, there are multiple technical snags that have been reported in the Air India flights. This one is from today. It is AI2493. Now, there was an air scare on Mumbai-Ahmedabad plane, another plane which had an air snag. And this was just one of the incidents. As a result, the passengers were told to deplane. There was inspection, there was checks going on. And all of this was happening after the passengers had already boarded the flight. Another incident that we are going to talk about here is again of Air India, where it was again on June 17, that is today, when there was another air scare at the plane, after which the passengers were left stranded. This is from the Ahmedabad to London flight. Now, there were operational issue delays in the flight. We'll quickly move forward about what was the other delays that were detected. Flight was cancelled over FDTL. Now, there were some certain technical snags that were reported that Air India had told their passengers after they had boarded the plane already. Now, the tech snag on San Francisco to Mumbai via Kolkata flight had also been reported. The same flight was grounded, after which technical snag was reported in the left engine, which we already have told you about. Another snag that was reported was that the technical snag delayed the flight from Kolkata. So a huge long hours of delay, nearly 5 to 6 hours is what left the passengers stranded. Another incident was of AI915. Again, this is from today, where Delhi to Dubai AI915 flight was stranded. Flight was cancelled from both Delhi and Dubai, after which we know that there has been no update from the airline so far on what is going on. There was a technical issue in Air India Boeing B787 aircraft. Remember, now there are 787 Boeing aircrafts that have been reporting technical snags back to back, and the question remains on why is there no action being taken from Air India? Why are these specific Boeing aircrafts not grounded yet? Another incident is of AI143, where Air India's Delhi to Paris flight was cancelled. All of these are international airlines. Remember, passengers pay a hefty amount to get on those flights to reach the destination that they want to leave. At the end of the day, they realize that these flights are going to remain grounded. There was a hydraulic leak, in fact, that was reported in the Boeing 787 aircraft, the same hydraulic failure that was reported on other aircrafts as well. Another incident, now this is from June 16, where Hong Kong to Delhi flight makes a U-turn. So Yesterday, there were about 3 incidents that were reported. Today, there are nearly 5 Air India planes that have been grounded on certain technical snags that were reported. So there are multiple snags that have been reported. And with that, we move on to the other stories that we're tracking on the broadcast, where we are being joined by an aviation expert. Amit Singh is joining us on the broadcast. He's an aviation expert to give us more insight on what could be the possible reasons of back-to-back hydraulic failures, back-to-back technical snags. Amit Singh, thank you very much for speaking to Republic. Now, these are the specifications that we just detailed out to our viewers, and most of it has been coming for Air India. It seems that no lessons have been learned after the fatal crash that happened in Ahmedabad. Where do you see this going forward?
Basically, the safety culture which is prevailing in the airline and industry as such, it's not that faults were not happening earlier. It's just that fear has set in now. So before, if the pilot was being forced to take a faulty aircraft or an aircraft with multiple faults so that there is no delay or effect on the schedule, now the pilots perhaps are refusing or getting more jittery because they do not know the consequences and they do not want to meet the consequences, what we have seen in the recent past. So this is the reason why suddenly, all of a sudden, a number of faults suddenly crop up. So this is the culture in the airline. We have seen in the past, while in Indian Airlines, there were a spate of hydraulic failures on the Airbus 320. Right. And inquiry revealed that it was the faulty, cheap spare part which was being imported and installed, so that would fail repeatedly. So repeated snags are of serious nature. Absolutely. And I'm sure the aircraft which went down also had certain repeated faults. And it is a very serious issue which the regulator must take it up seriously so that there is some kind of assurance, because nobody is giving an assurance to the public, neither the airline nor the regulator, that flying is still safe. It is safe statistically, but somebody has to come out in the open that, yes, right, we have the system under control.
Right, sir. Amit Singh, I request you to stay with me because what we're going to do right now for our viewers is we're going to report another incident that happened, and this time this is from an Indigo Airlines. Now, in another incident of a similar case, an Indigo flight 6E2706 from Muscat to Delhi via Kochi made an emergency landing at the Nagpur airport after a bomb threat was received. Now, the Kochi International Airport Limited said that the bomb threat was received with regard to the Indigo flight, which arrived here from Muscat and departed for Delhi, prompting them to make an emergency landing at Nagpur airport for undergoing inspection. It said that the threat was received on its official email ID about the Indigo flight, which departed for Delhi with 157 passengers and 6 crew at 9:31 a.m. On the same, I am also being joined by Amit Singh, aviation expert, continues to stay with us. Amit Singh, these are concentrated efforts that we see that have been going on, and it's not something new. There have been cases of hoax bomb threats that have been given to airlines. What do you think would be the possible reasons on why these airlines are receiving bomb threats? What could be the intention? Is it an attempt to create panic among the passengers?
Generally, to destabilize aviation, when something unfortunate has happened, the airline is under stress, the aviation industry is under stress. So this is the easiest thing to mount some more stress to break basically the system. And aviation as such, we have such a big footprint, and everybody is traveling and they are booked for the summer season. So this is the travel season. That is when people want, who are against the interest of the country basically, to bring the system down. So that is one of the easiest thing to do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to Republic and sharing your views on that. With that, we move forward to the other stories that we're tracking on the broadcast, and this has made headlines globally. Now, Israel and Iran launched a new round of attacks as the conflict between the two heavily armed rivals entered day 5th. Israel said it had killed Ali Shadmani, Iran's new wartime chief of staff and country's most senior military commander. His predecessor was killed in Israel's initial attack, and this happened on Friday. At least 224 people have been killed since Israel began bombing Iran on Friday. Now, Iranian state media reported while Iranian retaliatory strikes have killed at least 24 people in Israel. Let's also take you through the key areas that have been hit in both Iran and Israel. Now remember, there have been loss of lives, there have been destruction as far as the escalation in the conflict is concerned. There seems to be no respite that is in sight, there seems to be no end. The world leaders are raising alarm, and the G7 leaders in fact are also issuing a statement. They have said that they back Israel and that Israel has the right to defend. Let's also take you through the key areas that have been hit by Israel. Now, these are certain key bases that Israel claims it has hit, and this happened in the span of 12th to 16th of June. Number one is Tabriz, where explosion was reported near a nuclear research center. Remember, both of them are nuclear heavy nations. Another strike that was reported was in Tehran, another one which was reported at Natanz, and refueling plane at the airport was also hit. However, it is Iran that claims that no damage has occurred so far after the Israel strike on them. We'll also take you through about the areas that have been hit by Iran. Now, one of the key areas that have been hit is Haifa. And there are several buildings that have been hit. Remember, we got you visuals of destruction that have been seen in Haifa city. Another one is Tel Aviv. It's the major point of flashpoint where there have been certain damages that have been reported. Western Galley also remains one of the areas that Iran claims it has hit. And remember, all of this at a point in time that happened between 12th to 16th of June. So these are the key areas where Iran claims that it has hit. The escalation is only widening. Now, in its latest offensive, Israel has launched targeted airstrikes. What we do know so far is that there are also some Indian students in Iran that are being relocated to safer places within the country. The government has said that in a statement, stressing that other feasible options were also being examined. Now, the development comes as Israel and Iran continue to trade missiles, with neither side showing any sign of backing down. The parents have appealed to the Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister S. Shankar to intervene and facilitate the safe return of these Indian students. The majority, remember, of these students stranded in Tehran and several other cities of Iran are pursuing professional courses, mainly MBBS. We spoke to the family of these students who have been stranded. Listen in.
Daughter of the family who's studying in Shiraz University. And she is the one who's still been stuck there, and I'm joined by her father, Nisar.
जी मैम, वो शिराज मेडिकल यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ रही है. 2-4 दिन पहले जब ये वार स्टार्ट हो गया बिटवीन इसराइल एंड ईरान, तो वो बहुत डरे हुए थे. तो पहले दिन तो उतने डरे हुए नहीं थे, लेकिन जैसे जैसे वो दिन चढ़ता गया तो वहाँ से भी राय कटा रहे हैं, यहाँ से भी राय कटा रहे हैं. तो वो हॉस्टल में स्टक थे. तो फिर वो क्या करते, या हम फ़ोन करते, हम क्या कर सकते थे. फिर यूनिवर्सिटी वालों से कांटेक्ट करें. यूनिवर्सिटी बोलने वाला आप हॉस्टल में रहिए, आप बाहर मत निकले, हम देखते हैं क्या हालात रहेंगे, उसी हिसाब से करेंगे. तो रात को ज़्यादा जब वहाँ रॉकेट वगैरह मिसाइल चलने लगे तो वो बहुत डरे हुए, सहमे हुए थे. तो फिर उन्होंने हमारे साथ कांटेक्ट किया, हम क्या कर सकते थे. फिर लकीली हम थैंकफुल है इंडियन एम्बेसी के जो वहाँ ईरान में है, उनने उनके साथ कांटेक्ट किया, उनको अपना व्हाट्सअप नंबर दिया, कांटेक्ट नंबर, बोला आप घबराइए मत, हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हालात कैसे रहेंगे उस हिसाब से हम कोशिश करेंगे कि आपको सेफ जगह इवैक्यूएट करेंगे.
तो अभी तक इवैक्यूएशन हुआ है क्या?
आज मॉर्निंग में मेरी बेटी के साथ बात हुई, इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड टाइम 7 AM, तो वहाँ तेहरान में 5 AM थे. तो उनको उस टाइम इवैक्यूएट कर रहे थे वहाँ से सेफर प्लेस. इंडियन एम्बेसी की तरफ से उनका फुल सपोर्ट उनसे मिला, इंडियन एम्बेसी की तरफ से. वो कंटिन्यू इन दोनों उनके साथ टच में थे. वो 3-4 दिन से सोए नहीं, क्योंकि वहाँ उस होस्ट में लड़कियाँ हैं, 80% कश्मीरी है, लेबनानीज, इराकी और भी कई कंट्री की लड़कियां हैं. वहाँ लड़कियों का ही हॉस्टल है वो. तो लेकिन सपोर्ट बहुत ही मिला उनको यूनिवर्सिटी वालों ने भी सपोर्ट किया, तो एम्बेसी वालों ने उनके
बच्चे जो है वो आपकी बेटी के साथ वहाँ फंसे हुए, कुछ बताया?
वहाँ उसने बताया कि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी के 200 लड़कियाँ थी। जी जी जी।
Ladies and gentlemen, the Israeli Air Force destroyed more than 20 surface-to-surface missiles last night before they were launched towards the state of Israel by Iran. Now, the Israeli Air Force completed several waves of strike overnight, targeting approximately 100 military targets in central Iran. Now, let's get you the key visuals that are surfacing across Iran and Israel. One of the key videos shows how far the destruction has happened. Remember, there are certain nuclear sites as well that have been hit. There are certain videos that have circulated, and to access and tell us about the damage and destruction that has happened, we are being joined by our reporter Nick, who is joining live from Tel Aviv. Nick, talk to us about what are the kind of destruction that Tel Aviv specifically has gone through since you're reporting from there, and what is the situation so far as the ground is concerned?
Here behind me, you can see one of the targets of the Iranian missiles. Here you can see kids supposed to be. This is one of their bird and kangaroo paintings. And inside of this bus, around 70 children supposed to be, because those buses, 10 of them, are taking each morning the children to the kindergartens and to the schools. But all of them, as you can see, are completely destroyed just from one ballistic missile fired from Iran, and it happened in the morning, exactly at the time when those children supposed to go to schools, to kindergartens. And just because Israel decided to close all the schools, kindergartens, and workplaces, because of the emergency situation, no one was here, but otherwise it could be a huge tragedy. You can see how all of those buses are destroyed. And now I will show you a huge hole that this ballistic missile made inside of the area here. And then you can also see behind how close are the residential buildings, kindergartens, schools. They're all here, close to this hole. You see, this is what happened from one ballistic missile that Iran shot towards Israel. I will now go inside so you'll see how huge the hole. This is the hole from one ballistic missile of Iran. And they were targeting civilians in Israel. They were targeting buses that are taking children to the school, to kindergartens, and residential areas here. There are no military targets here all around. And this is what Iran doing for 5 days. They are striking civilian residential areas all across Israel. Back to you.
Thank you very much for getting us those ground reports. All eyes are now on how the situation is going to pan out, because there seems to be no relief, no respite that have been seen. Moving on, the G7 summit has cracked under the pressure of war. And remember, G7 has also released a statement. They have completely backed Israel. We're keeping a very close watch on that, as Prime Minister Modi will also be attending the G7 summit. And that is all that we could pack in this edition of 6 Stories at 6. We will be back tomorrow with more agenda-setting stories at 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next after the break is Live and Breaking.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
הנה, נפילות. וואו, בבתי זיקוק.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
In this context, Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program.
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. And yes, you are sorry, say again. With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. And yes, you are maintain passion level advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong. Able right turn right now in the 315.
A very good evening. Hello and welcome. You're watching Republic TV with me, Akanksha Khajuria. West Asia is on the boil again. In the last 5 days, we have seen war, in fact, starting between these two countries. We'll get you more details on this. But first up, the headlines.
Massive crisis hits Air India. Multiple flights report technical snags and cancellation. Passengers have been left stranded. Indigo flight flying from Kochi to the national capital was forced to make an emergency landing in Nagpur after the airline received a security alert. Israeli military says that it has killed Iran's wartime chief of staff. Israel-Iran conflict has escalated. Iran says that it has destroyed Israel's military intelligence center near Tel Aviv. PM Modi is in Canada to attend the G7 summit. He will be meeting Ukrainian President Zelensky on the sidelines of this summit, and we will keep you updated on that. We have a breaking news coming in. The IDF and Israel's border police have launched a fresh counter-attack operation on the northern Samaria. This comes as a part of the efforts to expand gains made during Operation Iron Wall. So you can see these are the visuals of the fresh anti-terror operation that Israel has launched, even as the conflict between the two nations have escalated in the last few days. What we're learning is that Israeli Defense Forces and Israel Border Police have launched a fresh counter-terror operation in the northern Samaria. Well, this comes as a part of the efforts to expand gains made during the Operation Iron Wall. For more on this, let me go across in fact, our guest will be joining in some time. Let me go across to our reporter who joins us from Tel Aviv. Nick, tell us about the situation on the ground, and in fact on this breaking update that we are also getting, that IDF and Israeli Border Police have launched a fresh counter-terror operation in northern Samaria. Tell us about this and then the escalation of the war as far as Israel and Iran is concerned.
I can tell you about the escalation of the war with Iran. I'm now standing at the place where one of the ballistic missiles from Iran hit the ground, and you see the massive damage to all of those buses that's supposed to take children to the school. And
absolutely,
okay.
Nick.
You can see here all the damage, and the Israeli Minister of Defense came here shortly ago, and he said that Israel will continue the war against Iran until Iran will stop attack Israel, and maybe Khomeini, the head of Iran, will be the next one, and his fate will be like Saddam Hussein. That's what said the Minister of Defense of Israel. And Israel says to Iran that they need to stop target civilians, like you can see here behind me. All those buses and this kind of targets is not acceptable. And Israel will continue to try to destroy all the nuclear capabilities of Iran, because Israel understands this is an existential threat. Israel cannot afford that Iran will have a nuclear weapons, and they will continue to strike Iran until they will surrender their plans to develop nuclear weapons. Back to you.
Absolutely, Nick. You continue to get us those details. The ground reports from Tel Aviv as the destruction continues. Thank you for all the details. Now, moving on, as Israel and Iran war continues to escalate, what we are learning is that Indian students continue to leave Iran. Students from University of Isfahan are going to Yazd. Meanwhile, 110 Indian students have evacuated to Armenia from Iran, and they will be flying to the national capital tomorrow, is what we are learning. This is even as the escalation in the West Asia is on the boil. That entire region has seen attack and counter-attack in the last 5 days. Now, today India has directed all the Indians living there to either move to a safer location and to other part of Iran, or to move to close to the Armenian border. And that is why External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was in touch with the Armenian counterpart to get the assistance as far as the evacuation is concerned. What we're learning so far, that there are as many as 10,000 Indians living in Iran. 6,000 of them are students, and also at least 1,300 to 1,400 Kashmiri students also studying there. And that is why it is very important, given the escalation between Israel and India, it is very important for them to be evacuated. There are two strategies that India has adopted. Firstly, either to move them to a safer location away from where the attacks are happening, or closer to the Armenian border, so that they can be handed over to the Armenian authorities. And in fact, what we're learning is that 110 students have been evacuated close to the border, and they will be flying to the national capital tomorrow. In fact, we are getting you the ordeal of the students who have been evacuated or who are still stuck there. We have, in fact, a reaction coming in from one student. Listen in.
I am Skashali, citizen of India. Right now, I am fourth year medical student in Urmia University of Medical Sciences, Urmia. Right now, exactly 110 students of India who were in the University of Urmia are being accommodated in the capital of Armenia, that is Yerevan. Accommodation arranged by the Embassy of India is very well promising here. 2-3 days ago, we were in such a terrible situation. We had been witnessing missiles in the sky, explosions nearby, explosions in the night time, which was very distressing. But right now, we are very safe. And all the members of embassy are treating us like family, not just the citizens of India.
Medical sciences, as you can see, we are traveling. We are in the bus. We are almost 20 people in the bus, and rest in the another bus, 30 people are there. So overall, roughly we are 50 people. We started our journey. I would like to thank Indian Embassy. Early morning, they just relocated us. First, we got all collected near our university. And after that, now we are getting relocated towards Yas from Isfahan. This journey is almost taking 5 or 6 hours. As Yas is a really safer place than Isfahan. You can see the visuals, the outside of these things where we are traveling. But thanks to Indian Embassy that we are not facing any problems here. They are trying to provide every possible facility here. I would request our Indian Embassy that to evacuate us from Iran, as the situation in Iran is not really that stable.
बहुत खुश हो गया हमारी एम्बेसी जो है हमें बहुत सपोर्ट किया. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, बहुत सारे बिजनेस क्लास पीपल हैं, बहुत सारे टूरिस्ट हैं. सबको एक सेफ प्लेस पे ले जा रहे हैं. डेंजरस प्लेस से वो सेफली हमें पहुंचा रहे हैं. उनका कोऑपरेशन के लिए बहुत थैंक यू उनको.
And meanwhile, Brigade Combat Team and Yahalom unit forces have dismantled an underground Hamas compound beneath the European hospital, which is located in the southern Gaza Strip. Now, this is the same compound where the body of Mohammed Sinwar was found. A targeted operation has been conducted over the past 2 weeks to locate and map out the large-scale underground Hamas infrastructure as well. Here's more on that story.
An underground Hamas compound beneath the European hospital in Gaza has been dismantled by the Golani Brigade Combat Team and Yahalom unit forces. This is the same complex where the body of Mohammed Sinwar was found. The route was dismantled in a complex logistical and engineering operation after the tunnel routes were mapped by the Yahalom unit and additional units. Dozens of trucks and cement mixers were used to seal the tunnel. Approximately 250 cubic meters of concrete was used during the process. The effort was led by the Golani Brigade's Engineering Battalion and with the division's logistical support unit. The operation was carried out with precision and care to avoid damaging the hospital building.
Very short break coming up. On the other side, Prime Minister is in Canada today to attend the G7 summit. He will be meeting with Zelensky on the sidelines of the summit. This and much more on the other side. After this very short break, we'll tell you more.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते, जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबां में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबां केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong.
And yes, you are cancelling. Say again.
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further.
And yes, you are cancelling. Maintain passenger level, advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong.
Able right turn right now in 315.
Ini filo. Wow, we got this cool.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
In this context, Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program.
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong.
Welcome back. Now let's focus on G7 summit, which has cracked under the pressure of war. President Donald Trump walked out mid-summit, flying back to Washington, D.C. as tensions with Iran exploded. French President Macron claimed Tehran was ready for talks, but Trump dismissed it, hinting at something far more serious. As fighter jets take to the skies and the allies send mixed signals, the world is watching a summit unravel in real time. Here's more.
The G7 summit, meant to be a gathering of global resolve, was interrupted by a war spiraling out of control in West Asia. In a dramatic turn, US President Donald Trump walked out, abruptly abandoning the summit to focus on the escalating Iran-Israel conflict. Soon after, America wasn't talking, it was moving. Fighter jets, surveillance drones, airlift tankers all scrambled in southern Europe. The message was loud. Washington is preparing for something bigger. While American warplanes took to the skies, the G7 scrambled to salvage diplomacy. The G7 leaders did not mince words. Iran was blamed, Israel was backed, and nuclear red lines were drawn. But here's the bigger picture. Donald Trump, the most powerful president in the world, was forced out of a summit by Tehran's war games. Let's not call it diplomacy. This was geopolitical theater, and Trump blinked first.
Remember, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. We don't have to go too deep into it. They just can't have a nuclear weapon. I want people to be safe. And that's always possible. A thing like that could happen. I just want people to be safe.
Back in Alberta, another diplomatic crack opened wide. French President Emmanuel Macron claimed Iran was ready for a ceasefire, even nuclear negotiations.
Et donc, si les États-Unis d'Amérique peuvent obtenir un cessez-le-feu, c'est une très bonne chose. Et la France le soutiendra et nous le souhaitons. Ensuite, je dis, il est absolument essentiel que toutes les frappes de part et d'autre qui se font contre des infrastructures énergétiques, administratives, culturelles et encore plus contre la population civile cessent. Rien ne les justifie, rien. Et elles sont, elles, absolument intolérables. Et ensuite, dès que le cessez-le-feu sera obtenu, et je pense que les annonces qui ont été faites par le président Trump sont tout à fait positives et le rôle que les États-Unis d'Amérique auront à jouer est clé, les Français, à leur côté, les Britanniques et les Allemands sont disponibles pour reprendre des discussions sérieuses. Discussions que nous n'avons jamais cessées.
But Trump wasn't buying it. Within hours, he publicly humiliated Macron, saying he had no idea what the French leader was talking about, hinting that his G7 exit was far more than just diplomacy. Tonight, the G7 regroups under global tension. Ceasefire chaos, nuclear threats, war rhetoric, all on the table. But in the war room, India isn't just present. India is prepared.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong.
And yes, you are cancelling, say again.
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further.
And yes, you are cancelling. Maintain fashion level, advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong.
Able right turn right now in 315.
Ini filo. Wow, bebat des échos.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
In this context, Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program.
Strikes, evacuations, civilian casualties, no end in sight. Fifth day of missile attacks between Israel and Iran. Global fallout looms as West Asia conflict widens. Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAHM.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Vieni, filo. Wow, vi battesi tu.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
In this context, Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program.
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong.
Sorry, say again.
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further.
And the actual Somerset, maintain passenger level, advise and able for right turn to Hong Kong.
Able right turn right now in 315.
Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Tuesday edition of This is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. It's no longer a shadow conflict. It's an all-out war between Israel and Iran. But how long can this continue? Will Iran be able to perhaps carry on with the endurance battle? Tonight on This is Exclusive, we get you both sides. What's really happening in Israel as well as Iran. The only Indian news network to give you a 360-degree view as to what's really happening in West Asia. But up first, let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. No sign of a ceasefire soon. Israeli Defense Minister Katz announces that the IDF will strike very significant targets in Tehran later today. Republic is the only channel live from Ground Zero in Tel Aviv, rolling coverage and exclusive reports from both the countries.
और एयर इंडिया कोई जवाब नहीं देते। अब हम लोग अभी अगली बार से एयर इंडिया में आने वाले नहीं हैं।
Massive crisis hits Air India. Multiple flights reports technical snags and cancellation. Passengers left stranded. Prime Minister Modi in Canada to attend G7 summit to meet President Zelensky on the sidelines of the summit. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last 24 hours, the Iran-Israel conflict has escalated sharply, with both nations exchanging direct military strikes in what is being described as the most intense confrontation between the two powers in recent years. Iran has launched a barrage of missiles and drones targeting major Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv as well as the port city of Haifa, causing civilian casualties and extensive damage to military intelligence infrastructure. Now, in a swift and forceful retaliation, Israel conducted targeted airstrikes on Iranian military sites, including a hit on Iran's state broadcaster. What you see on your screens right now, these are the images coming in of the Israeli Defense Forces, which has once again gone on to send its most stern warning now. International responses have been swift and divided. Now, what you see on your screens are how resources in Iran have also been targeted. The United Nations has called for an immediate ceasefire, and the US has also urged for a de-escalation. Former President have also now stepped in. In fact, as far as United States of America is concerned, important to point out here what is happening on the ground. Iran has already retaliated. On your screens, these are latest images of multiple military sites being targeted in Israel. Iran says that if at all United States of America is into diplomacy, then it is time for them to pick up the call with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and call in for a ceasefire. Is there a ceasefire anytime soon? It's unlikely, given the fact that what you see on your screens right now, it's an all-out war that's actually going on. Viewers, Republic TV is providing first-hand coverage of the aftermath of the Iran-Israel conflict. The report that we're going to play out in a short while from now is from Tel Aviv, which captures the immediate impact on residents and cities' infrastructure following Iranian missile strikes, offering a poignant look at the resilience of the people of Israel amidst the chaos. Now, not just in Israel, but also in Iran, there has been large-scale devastation that's taken place. If you go by the numbers that have been put out by the Iranian, it goes into hundreds. As far as Israel is concerned, perhaps it's a little different, but tonight we'll break it down for you. First, take a look at what's happening in Israel.
This is the hole that made just one ballistic missile that was
fired from Iran towards a residential area in the center of Israel. Meters from here there are kindergarten, schools, a lot of buildings with innocent people living there, and you can see the impact. One blast of a ballistic missile destroys anything with the shock wave in a radius of around 500 meters, and Iran continued to bombard Israel with hundreds of those kind of missiles for 5 days. Israel tries to destroy the nuclear capability of Iran because they also can use the nuclear weapons and to strike the same areas, but the impact will be much more bigger. Here behind me you can see the residential area in the center of Israel, and one of the ballistic missiles of Iran targeted this area where there is a schools, kindergartens, many residential buildings, and see what a huge hole just one rocket did. You can see the impact just of one rocket. See how big is that? And there are 10 buses here which were completely destroyed by this rocket, and in those buses each morning children are taken to the school, and you can see it is completely destroyed. You can see the destruction, and if the children was here now, they probably all would be dead. And this is what Iran is doing. They are targeting those kind of places where residential places are, where there's so many infrastructure, public places, regular people are living here, and you can see the destruction, how many of the buses were destroyed completely. And now some Jewish Orthodox Jews came here to cheer up the people of Israel. They probably want to say to them that God with us, with Israel, this is the promised land, and Israel will prevail. And you can see what a huge damage to all those buses, 10 buses, each of them with about 70 or even more places. And those buses at this hour when the rockets strike, usually taking children to the kindergartens and to the schools. But because Israel declared a military situation, emergency situation, the kindergarten, schools and workplaces are not open, and that's why there were no one here, no children, and this is a miracle that no one was killed from this ballistic attack by Iran. But you can understand what a huge disaster that could be. Nicole Yochin, center of Israel. This bus was one of the targets of the Iranian ballistic missiles. In this bus supposed to be about 70 children, and also there are another 9 buses that are completely destroyed from one Iranian ballistic missile. It happened in the morning when usually those buses take children to kindergartens and to schools all around the city. But just because Israel was now in an emergency situation, the kindergartens, the schools and also the workplaces are closed. That's why nobody was here, and just because of that, it is not a big tragedy that could happen here. Nicole Yochin, the center of Israel. И все, последний раз я выхожу. See a residential area, there are schools, kindergartens, and this is a huge hole here behind me that made just one ballistic missile. And you can see here around how many buses are impacted by just one missile. You can see it is completely destroyed, and just by fortune there was nobody here inside of those buses. But if somebody was inside, no one will survive it for sure. You can see how huge the blast was, and more than 10 buses are completely destroyed. You can go and see here all around, a complete destruction. In one bus there could be more than 70 people, and you see it is completely burned. And you can see here there are more of those buses. There are so much of them. This one here completely burned, but also the other ones. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 buses that were destroyed. If there were people inside of them, so the casualties could be massive. And those are the targets of Iranians. They are targeting civilians. You can see those are buses that civilians use them. This is not a military target. It is just civilian buses. And you can see here the impact. For hundreds of meters, you see the impact of those rockets. You can see here everything completely destroyed. And Iran continue to target civilians all across Israel. Nicole Yochin, Central Israel.
Well, that was what happened in Israel. Now let me take you through what's really happening on the ground in Iran. In fact, Ali Akbar Dareni, he's a writer, joining us from Tehran, only Indian network to get you both sides, Israel as well as Iran. Mr. Dareni, thank you very much for joining us from Tehran. I believe you'll have to unmute yourself. I want to begin by asking you about what's the situation like in Iran right now. Given the fact that President Trump has already announced asking people in Tehran to leave the city, an indication that there could be a massive escalation by the end of the day.
Iranians have suffered as a result of the Israeli act of aggression. Israel started an unprovoked war against Iran right in the middle of negotiations between Iran and the United States. And this war has been directly assisted by the United States. Israel, under no circumstances, was able to carry out such an act of aggression without logistical, intelligence, military, and diplomatic support from the United States. Iran did not start a war. It is Israel that started the war. The pictures you showed highlighted that Iran is targeting civilian areas in Israel. Iran is retaliating to Israel, targeting civilian areas and residential buildings in Tehran and other Iranian cities. Look at what Israel has done from the first moment it attacked Iran. They claim that it has everything to do with Iran's nuclear program. That's sheer lies. It has nothing to do with Iran's nuclear program. Israel possesses nuclear weapons. Iran doesn't. Israel is targeting civilian areas. Can you build nuclear weapons with hospitals? Yesterday,
can I then ask you, Mr. Dareni,
it targeted Iran's broadcaster organization. Can you build a nuclear weapon with a media organization? Can you build a nuclear weapon with civilian areas?
They say, I'm not getting into the specifics of that because the Israelis are claiming that it is used by the Iranian military, but that's not the point that I want to, focus on. But what I want to ask you is that what's the end game? Because there were reports that were coming in that Iran essentially wants some sort of a mediation to take place. You've been urging United States of America to make that call to Prime Minister Netanyahu, hoping for a ceasefire. Is that what Iran is looking forward to? Is there a possibility of some sort of a ceasefire in the coming few days?
Iran did not start a war. It didn't want a war.
Is it willing to come? Is it willing? Is Iran willing for a ceasefire agreement?
Who are pushing the United States to enter the war. So Iran has not asked for a ceasefire, although it doesn't want the war to expand. Israel has killed civilians in Iran, started an unprovoked war. If Iran does not impose a heavy cost on Israel, Israel is not going to stop. So Iran's priority is to punish Israel and inflict unbearable pain on Israel so that Israel stops its acts of aggression. At the same time, if that stops, Iran will be open to diplomacy. Iran was in the process of diplomacy. Iran was about to enter a sixth round of negotiations with the United States. It was Israel that derailed the talks, and it was the United States and the Trump administration that allowed Israel to derail the talks and allow Israel to carry out such an act of aggression. And now it is killing diplomacy. I hope the Trump administration is wise enough not to fall in the trap by war-hungry Netanyahu. This is a key issue, but Iran is prepared for all eventualities.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Durini, for getting us the view from Tehran, the only Indian news network to put across both sides, what's happening in Israel as well as in Iran. In fact, earlier today, I spoke to an Israeli parliamentarian to get you a sense of what's really happening in Israel. In fact, the parliamentarian, when she spoke to me, was at an attack site. This is what she had to tell me. Israeli Member of Parliament Nina Shatta is joining us on this broadcast. Ms. Shatta, let me first begin by asking you, what's the situation like on the ground? I'm given to understand that you visited certain sites that were attacked by the Iranians. What's the current situation like? Because the Iranians are claiming that several of your defense facilities have now been targeted. Is that true?
Thank you, Mr. Sharon Shan, to you, and hello to the audience. I can say that I am now in the site that attacked aggressively by Iran, but Iran regime. Unfortunately, last night it was the 5th day that we are dealing with a very aggressive regime that send missiles through the innocent people and innocent civilians. This is what they are done. In this site, you can see that there is a lot of damage, if you can see. And unfortunately, 4 innocent people died in this site. Some of them elderly, and we are dealing with a big threat from Iran. And I want to tell that the job that Israel done now with Iran and the war that we open against this unfortunately evil regime that tried to threaten by terror, by nuclear bombs. It is not a job and it is not a mission only for Israel. It is to bring a peace for the Middle East, but not the Middle East, also to all the countries that believe in peace and believe in democracy and believe that people need a safetiness.
Ms. Shatta, has Israel been able to achieve its goal? You have to now depend on the United States of America, because if at all you want to cripple Iran's nuclear program, you cannot do so because you do not have the resources at this point in time. You would want US intervention.
As you know, since the war outbreak, we have a lot of achievement from our army. The Air Force Army of Israel is a strong army, and we do our best to damage the plane of Iran to get a nuclear bomb. And we know that it is threatened of the safety of the world, not only the safety of Israel. Because of that, we will continue until we achieve our mission. One of them, it is to stop and remove the threat of a nuclear bomb. The second one, as you see the damage of the missiles that Iran sent, you understand that their goal is to hurt and to destroy Israel, and it won't happen. And because of that, we will continue until we achieve our mission.
Now, let me tell you what's the cost of this war. The escalating conflict between Israel and Iran has exacted a significant economic toll on both the nations and the global economy. Israel's military expenditures have surged, with costs associated with missile defense systems, airstrikes escalating into billions. Bank of Israel estimates that the war could cost the country up to $67 billion by 2025, including military outlays and civilian expenses. Now, the financial strain has led to an increased budget deficit and rise in government borrowing costs. Iran, already grappling with economic challenges, faces further strain due to international sanctions and the depreciation of its currency. Now, as the situation continues to develop, the economic ramifications are becoming increasingly evident, affecting markets and economies worldwide. Columnist Terry Newman explains.
As we enter day 5 of this Iran-Israel war, the costs from the Israeli side of executing this war are in the region of about 800 million to $1 billion US per day. Now, that number splits approximately 50% on offensive costs, i.e. the costs of Israel sending its aeroplanes nearly 2,000 kilometers from Israel all the way across to Iran, and the munitions required in order to take out the various nuclear installations, the ballistic missile installations, and also the targeted assassinations of the military leadership of the Iranian regime and the Revolutionary Guards. That obviously, in addition to the local costs of various operatives that have been reported or not been reported to be working on the ground there. In parallel, you also have the costs of defending the home front. So as your viewers are probably aware, Israel operates a multi-layered, multi-tiered air defense system, which includes the most famous Iron Dome, but then you also have the Arrow 1 and the Arrow 2, which go outside of the atmosphere and into space. We have David Sling. We have the American THAAD system. And there's also the laser system, and so that's also, at peak nights when there have been hundreds of surface-to-surface missiles and also ballistic missiles. There have been evenings where it's been $1.5 billion of expenses because of the cost of the interceptions. Just to sort of put in, numbers. The cost of a Iron Dome missile is in the region of about $50,000 a missile. The cost of an Arrow 1 is in the region of about $3 to $4 million a missile, and the cost of an Arrow 3 is around $5 to $6 million in order to take those down. So that obviously explains why the laser, which is costs $1 or so, is such an important addition to the defensive arsenal of countries that want to protect themselves from incoming rockets and missiles. Obviously, those costs are the direct costs of both offense and defense. In addition to that, you have the costs of repairing the buildings that have fallen and lost GDP. So that's an overall picture. I hope that's useful.
Well, in fact, what's the impact on India? In fact, government sources already indicating that the crude oil stocks are enough and it does not have any direct impact. In fact, I'm just going to quickly take you through the details that we've just got from our sources in terms of how exactly is the government responding to this entire thing. Point number 1, we have been given to understand global crude supply. There is currently an oversupply of crude oil globally with no risk of shortage. OPEC plus production, the group is producing 120 million barrels per day. Through production has been slightly reduced by 5 million barrels, bringing the current levels to approximately 97 million. And rising supplies from the Western Hemisphere, countries like Guyana, Brazil and US have emerged as major oil suppliers. So there is no direct impact. In fact, Strait of Hormuz's dependency of India's 5.6 million barrels per day oil consumption, only 1.5 to 2 million barrels comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So there is no disruption in it. Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. Coming up, trending with my colleague Rakshita.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ गुलें तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल, बोलो जुबान कैसी?
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH।
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. And yes, you are sorry, say again. With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. And yes, you are connecting fashion level advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong. Able right turn right now in 315.
Wow, wie war das gut?
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
From your smart screens to your smart television, the trending stories are breaking the internet. Civil aviation safety has become a major cause of concern after back-to-back technical snags. Meanwhile, tensions in West Asia have seen an unprecedented escalation as the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has issued an unmissable warning. Not just that, in a major embarrassment for Asim Munir, he was seen being heckled by the Pakistanis in the United States. We'll get you all this and much more in this Power Pack Bulletin. I'm Rakshita Mishra and this is what is trending today. It has been another day and another series of aviation incidents. Earlier today, flight AI180, a long-haul Boeing 777 from San Francisco to Mumbai, made a scheduled stop in Kolkata. Now, a technical fault was detected in the left engine just after landing. For hours, passengers sat on board. At 5:20 a.m., they were finally asked to deplane. The captain cited safety concerns. Engineers were seen inspecting the aircraft on the tarmac, a now familiar scene. And viewers, this is not just an isolated incident. In fact, it's part of a string of troubling disruptions. Flight AI2493 from Mumbai to Ahmedabad cancelled. The reason? Operational delays led to the crew to exceed their legal duty limits as defined by the FDTL regulations. The same AI180 flight. A transcontinental journey halted midway, engine trouble again. Question that lingers is, was the aircraft airworthy to begin with? Meanwhile, viewers, the turbulence in the skies continues, and so does the uncertainty on the ground. From short-haul domestic to high-profile international routes, failures seem to follow the Air India logo across skies and runways. And these are just incidents from the last few days. And despite this, a templated response is all that follows from the airliners. And meanwhile, in another incident, this time surrounding SpiceJet, the angry passengers at the Pune airport confronted the SpiceJet staff over allegedly being given stale food after their flight was delayed. Watch this video that's going viral.
खाना तू खाएगा खा यही सबके सामने खा तो हमें भी पता चले ना कि हम जानवर हैं या इंसान हैं क्या है ये बिरयानी बताओ सर बिरयानी आप सच्ची बताओ भी बिरयानी है ये बिरयानी है क्या है फिर आप 2 रुपए वाले पुलाव के भी लायक नहीं है वो पुलाव के भी लायक नहीं है खाओ इसको दही का टेस्ट देखो पहले दही का टेस्ट देखो खा के सब पुलाव है ना पानी की बोतल मेरे पास है
जो काम कर सकता है उसको बुलाओ, कुछ क्यों आते हैं 6 बजे लेकर दिए भाई, 6 बजे तेरी गलती कर रहे हैं, का जहाज तैयार होने वाला नहीं है, बेचारे ने नाश्ता भी नहीं किया, तो खाना खाने तो चुपचाप क्या बात सवाल कर रहे हो यार। अभी पुणे में एक बंदा भूखा है, बैठ जा भाई, भाग मत, एक दिमाग खराब मत, बैठ जा आराम से, भैया जाना नहीं खाएगा तो हम कुत्ते हैं, ये खाना तू खाएगा, खा यही सबके सामने खा, तो हमें भी पता चले ना कि हम जानवर हैं या इंसान हैं। क्या है ये बिरयानी? बताओ सर, बिरयानी आप सच्ची बताओ, भी बिरयानी है ये? बिरयानी है क्या है? हमें 2 रुपए वाले पुलाव के भी लायक नहीं है, वो पुलाव के भी लायक नहीं है। खाओ इसको, दही का टेस्ट देखो, पहले दही का टेस्ट देखो खा के। सब पुलाव है ना, पानी की बोतल मेरे पास है, एक चम्मच भी पानी जो काम कर सकता है उसको बुलाओ, कुछ क्यों आते हैं 6 बजे लेकर दिए भाई, 6 बजे तेरी गलती कर रहे हैं, का जहाज तैयार होने वाला नहीं है, बेचारे ने नाश्ता भी नहीं किया, तो खाना खाने तो चुपचाप क्या बात सवाल कर रहे हो यार। अभी पुणे में एक बंदा भूखा है, बैठ जा भाई, भाग मत।
All right, I'm being joined by Captain Surjit Panesar, former Director of Flight Safety and Training, Indian Airlines. And thanks so much, Captain Panesar, for joining us. So it's become a trend now. All of a sudden, we see that one after the other, there are technical snags. And of course, issues like not there being no ACs in flights, stale foods, seatbelt issues have been recurring. They have been persistent. Captain Panesar, can you hear me? We'll try and connect, just fix that audio. Can you hear me, sir, Captain Panesar? All right, I will just try and fix that audio issue, viewers, because we see that one after the other, these are complaints that are coming in, and the flyers are furious. The flyers are angry. The flyers have had enough. And they are on the edge whenever they take a flight. We've seen that how many people have been protesting against stale food. Even during one of the flights recently, that was that had to, the passengers had to be deboarded because of some technical issue. Their whole schedule goes for a toss. Their money also, they suffer. It's at the end of the day, it's the flyers who are suffering, and this is becoming a persistent problem. And of course, after the Air India tragedy, this becomes even more important to address each and every issue. And the passengers are just left stranded. And these woes, these problems for them are unending. Their safety, more than anything, this safety is something that everyone would say that should be ensured by these airlines. But what is really happening? We was in the latest, what we have is that the DGC has also sought a report from Air India, also the engineering head of Air India as well. So the DGC has sought response on the pilot's training as well. So you can understand how the airlines is under lens now after the tragedy that happened in Gujarat, and also these multiple snags, the emergency landings, the U-turns that are being reported. All right, Captain, I think Captain Surjit Panesar is back with us. He's former Director of Flight Safety and Training in the Indian Airlines. Thank you so much, Captain Panesar. Well, it's becoming a recurring and persistent issue. And after the tragedy, we see that, every snag is now looked at with more suspicion. The fact that DGC is now seeking report on the pilot's training as well, speaks volumes of what has been happening. You feel that there needs to be in-depth investigation and overhaul, because these are recurring issues, and it's high time that these issues end once and for all. Captain Sabharwal. Captain Surjit Panesar, I think there's a problem with the connection, but we shift our focus to now the other stories on trending that we're bringing to you today. Is the story from West Asia. Israel's airstrike hit Iranian state news channel yesterday. The footage extremely dramatic, going viral. News anchor who was busy lambasting the state of Israel was interrupted by a deafening blast, sending her scrambling for cover. The studio descended into chaos with debris and dust filling the air. This dramatic escalation between Israel and Iran was the world watching closely. Take a look.
معاونت سیاسی صدا و سیمای جمهوری اسلامی ایران هدف حمله متجاوز قرار گرفت. الله اکبر، الله اکبر، الله اکبر. مردم شریف ایران آگاه باشید. آنچه که دیدید، صدایی که شنیدید، صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلود استادیوم.
There you have the dramatic visual. Now, global evacuation efforts are underway as tensions between Israel and Iran continue to escalate. The US and India have advised their citizens to leave Tehran immediately due to the safety concerns. Indian embassy is actively coordinating evacuation plans and has asked nationals in Iran to register their locations. On your screens is the visual of huge traffic queues as people flee the Iranian capital. You can see that people are running for cover because you see that in Iran they don't really have bunkers. They have to just flee from their homes. And Iran has also reportedly attacked the Israeli military intelligence logistics center near Tel Aviv. That's what at least Iran is claiming. There's no confirmation from Israel yet on that. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has announced that tonight, the IDF will strike very significant targets in Tehran. It's a significant warning, and he's also cautioned Iran's leader Ayatollah Khamenei might meet a fate like Saddam Hussein's. And don't forget that they also said that another nuclear facility might also be on the target. At least they will address the issue. That's what he said. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu did not rule out plans to assassinate Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, saying it would end the conflict between the two arch foes. So the war between Iran and Israel is only escalating, and West Asia continues to be on the edge, and Republic TV continues to get you more updates on that, viewers. Meanwhile, we will take a quick look at all the trends that are running hot on social media and breaking the internet today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman laid wreath and paid tribute to the martyrs who laid down their lives in service of the nation at the Rezangla War Memorial in Ladakh. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and French President Emmanuel Macron were spotted sharing whispered conversations during the G7 summit, leaving everyone wondering what did they really discuss. The private exchange has sparked curiosity among the observers, with many speculating about the topics they might have covered. That includes Iran and Israel. Looks like some A-listers are in hot water. The ED has questioned, reportedly, Harbhajan Singh, Yuvraj Singh, Suresh Raina. However, there's been no confirmation on that. Meet Shravan Kumar, a 19-year-old factory worker from Rajasthan now, who has cleared the NEET exam despite facing financial hardships. His parents wash dishes at village ceremonies, and he works in a factory to support his family. Shravan's determination and hard work have paid off, securing a rank of 4,071 in the OBC category. He now aims to become a doctor in a service community where healthcare is a luxury. A rare 30-feet oarfish, also known as the doomsday fish, has been spotted in Tamil Nadu. Now, this deep-sea dweller is a rare sight, and its appearance has got everyone talking. Dr. Salvador Plasencia, accused of supplying Matthew Perry with ketamine, has agreed to plead guilty to 4 counts of distribution. Now, this could land him up to 40 years in prison. The doctor allegedly called Perry a moron in text messages, exploiting the actor's vulnerability for financial gain. Plasencia admitted to supplying Perry with 20 vials of ketamine worth thousands of dollars despite knowing the risks. Now, a video of Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, Asim Munir, has gone completely viral on social media. He was heckled by the Pakistani diaspora in the United States. In fact, his whole hotel was geared out. You can see on your screens, they installed a large electronic billboard across the hotel that he was staying in. The billboard is flashing screens calling him a mass murderer, saying, Asim Munir, your time is up. He's in Washington, D.C. to attend an event, and the protesters in front of the hotel, you can see, were shouting slogans against him, calling him a mass murderer. Shame on you, free Pakistan, Pakistaniyon ka qatil, they said. Islamabad ka qatil, they said. Just take a look at this dramatic sequence and a major embarrassment and humiliation for Asim Munir.
This is Washington Four Seasons Hotel, telling him what he has done to Pakistan. Pakistan will rise, inshallah.
As you can guess, viewers, the videos have gone completely viral on social media. Twitter users have called him a disgrace and a failed marshal. One Twitter user said, and I quote, failed Kate Marshal. Asim Munir getting cursed and heckled by angry Pakistanis in America. Public outrage follows him overseas, a symbol of growing discontent with Pakistan's military leadership, unquote. Another user has shared the video with the caption, and I quote, Asim Munir is getting jeered by Imran Khan supporters, unquote. And of course, there are people talking about General Asim Munir and the state of affairs in Pakistan and how he had hoped for red carpets in Washington, D.C. And instead, he got trolled, heckled and humiliated from Pakistanis abroad. That from GHQ's powered corridors to public shame on foreign streets, the mask has fallen, writes one writer. As a prelude to International Yoga Day, the Indian Army organized special yoga sessions across various UN peacekeeping missions with participation from local communities and international peacekeepers, celebrating unity, health and harmony. Watch these visuals as I say goodbye.
Chest up, spread your hand.
Please lie on your back, fold your legs at the knees and place flat.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ. डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा. अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ. सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का.
MDH की देगी मिर्च.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar.
Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAHM.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. MDH 157, say again. With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. MDH 157, maintain fashion level, advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong. Able right turn right now in the 315.
Ini filo. Wow, we got this coup.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 11th year, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
הנה, אפילו. וואו, בבתי זיקוק.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
In this context, Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program.
With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. With technical reasons, sir, would like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further.
Massive crisis hits Air India. Multiple flights report technical snags and cancellation. Passengers have been left stranded. Indigo flight flying from Kochi to the national capital was forced to make an emergency landing in Nagpur after the airline received a security alert. Israeli military says that it has killed Iran's wartime chief of staff. Israel-Iran conflict has escalated. Iran says that it has destroyed Israel's military intelligence center near Tel Aviv. PM Modi is in Canada to attend the G7 summit. He will be meeting Ukrainian President Zelensky on the sidelines of this summit, and we will keep you updated on that.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड भी, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल और जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAH.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Wow, we got this cool.
As you can see behind me, this is the result of the latest barrage of rockets fired at our residential communities by Iran. It's continuing the pattern as we're seeing. Each and every one of these scenes are targeting residential communities, civilians in their homes.
אחרי שקיבלנו את ההתראות בלילה, נכנסנו לממ"ד, המתנו, היה את האזעקה, המתנו.
In this context, Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program.
With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. India 315, say again. With technical reasons, sir, we'd like to stay closer to Hong Kong. Maybe we will come back and land back into Hong Kong once we sort out the problem. We don't want to continue further. India 315, maintain passenger level, advance and able for right turn to Hong Kong. Able right turn right now in 315.
Each night on prime time, we don't just bring you the news. We lead it with responsibility, asking the toughest questions, breaking the biggest stories, setting the national agenda. At the Republic School of Journalism, you learn how to front the news with clarity, confidence, and conviction. The RSJ Diploma program begins on the 30th of June. Your prime time starts here.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, the worst ever crisis to have hit India's aviation sector. Air India is getting into bigger and bigger trouble. 6 Air India Dreamliner planes have been cancelled today. The airline is an absolute mess. Air India is the biggest aviation mess in the world. At 9 p.m. this evening, Donald Trump is threatening major action, major military action against Iran. And as we enter a 5th night of this fight, this could be the tipping point. First, ladies and gentlemen, the Tata Group should stop trying and give lectures about how sincere it is, because as far as we are concerned, the Tata Group should have sacked its CEO, Mr. Campbell Wilson. By now, they should have already done that. But for some reason, the Tata Group MD, Chandrasekaran, is not doing that. Not even after reports have come that Campbell Wilson has allegedly plagiarized his apology speech, and there were reports that he has plagiarized his apology speech from a speech of an American Airlines CEO, Robert Isom, in the US, following a fatal crash in the US of an American Airlines plane. Some people say this is not plagiarization, but if it's not plagiarization, it's even worse. This means there's a standard SOP among these airlines following air crashes where hundreds of people die. They come out with a standard SOP, what seems to be an SOP playbook, standard aviation industry language, in which they say sorry without meaning it. Air India is the biggest aviation mess in the world right now. There is no point for Tata to go and say we are going to make it a safe airline, safest airline, and try and look very earnest. Because if the Tata Group and if Air India was earnest, they would not be taking chances with the lives of people. Today, six Air India Dreamliners have been cancelled. Now, this is extremely serious. 6 Dreamliners alone have been cancelled. I'm not counting 777s or Airbuses. And yet, the Air India is not grounding the 787-8 Dreamliner fleet, which means they don't know what the hell is going on, but they continue to fly the Dreamliner. 6 Dreamliners have been either cancelled or pulled back. 1, San Francisco to Mumbai via Kolkata Dreamliner lands in Kolkata Airport and has a major snag in its left engine. Now, this is not a joke. Case 2, please. Case 2, we have a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, cancelled both the outbound flights, inbound return flights between Delhi and Dubai. We don't know the reason for the complete suspension of an international round trip, but obviously significant operational or technical deficiencies. Air India flight 143 Delhi to Paris Dreamliner grounded after a hydraulic leak detected shortly before departure. Hydraulic leak, big problem. This is critical for controlling landing gear, brakes, and other essential flight functions. Another case, Dreamliner, Air India once again, 159 from Ahmedabad to London. Operations are halted before takeoff without a publicly disclosed technical reasons. Now, you should constantly think when there are so many incidents, is there a problem with all the Dreamliners in Air India? But Air India will not learn, will not listen, continues to be arrogant under the rule of the biggest disaster in the aviation industry, Campbell Wilson, supported till now by the Tata Group for God knows what reason. Air India flight AI 315 Hong Kong to Delhi forced to return to Hong Kong mid-air due to an engine to fuel filter bypass. We reported this. This is terrible. Air India flight AI 2820 Delhi to Bangalore made to vacate. The aircraft shifted to a different place many hours later. All of this last 24 hours. Point is, we've had an air crash in this country. What on earth is Air India doing? Why are they flying these planes? Has the DGCA relaxed airworthiness requirements for Air India? Or is it that these planes were running like this regardless of what the expectation is? It's only now that these airlines, and Air India has realized that pilots are aware, passengers are aware, and news channels, especially Republic, is very activist on this issue, which is why they are not taking chances. But these 787s, which are being routinely flown with deferred repairs, temporary fixes, snag histories, opaque maintenance logs, weak enforcement of basic regulatory clearances, systemic failures, ladies and gentlemen. Our aviation industry has a systemic failure, and I'm not talking about weather-related things. I'm talking about things which are to do with the way the planes run. And we're sick and tired with these self-certifications that the Tata Group is giving Air India. And Air India, Campbell Wilson is reading out what appears to be either plagiarized or industry SOP press releases after hundreds of people have been killed. Do you feel safe? I'm asking you, do you feel safe flying? And if you don't, then I think you need to raise your voice. There is something seriously wrong. The safety of passengers in our country flying in the air has been severely compromised. The central government has appeared extremely lax. And today, the Civil Aviation Minister responded to seconds when Supriya Sule complained. And the Civil Aviation Minister directly responded on DM. Supriya Sule, Sharad Pawar's daughter, puts out a complaint saying, my plane is delayed, no answers, etc. Within seconds, the Civil Aviation Minister replies. Now, I want to ask the Civil Aviation Minister, are you answerable to Supriya Sule or to the people of this country? What about the rest of us? What about Air India? Why are you giving Air India a long leash, Mr. Civil Aviation Minister? How is this acceptable? Why are you not giving clear answers to the people of this country? I want to make it clear tonight, we'll continue to put the pressure on the government, the DGCA, the Civil Aviation Minister, Air India and the Tata Group. Come what may. I know the other channels will go soft. I know they take it easy. I know they'll play safe. But this is Republic. We're going to make it difficult for people who think they are beyond accountability. You must make it difficult for such people too. Let's debate.
The shock and grief of Air India AI-171 is still fresh. Not a week has passed since 241 passengers were charred to death in Ahmedabad plane crash. A series of air safety scares have raised a serious alarm. Early Tuesday, flight AI-180, a long-haul Boeing 777 from San Francisco to Mumbai, made a scheduled stop in Kolkata. But what followed was anything but routine. A technical fault was detected in the left engine just after landing. For hours, passengers sat on board. At 5:20 a.m., they were finally asked to deplane, citing safety concerns. Engineers were seen inspecting the aircraft on the tarmac. Flight AI-2493 from Mumbai to Ahmedabad cancelled. The reason? Operational delays led the crew to exceed their legal duty limits. And it does not stop there. AI-915 Delhi to Dubai cancelled. A Boeing 787 grounded over technical issues. No explanations for stranded passengers. AI-143 Delhi to Paris. Another Boeing B-787 aircraft. Another failure. This time a hydraulic leak. AI-159 Ahmedabad to London. A flight to Europe cancelled moments before taking off, citing a last-minute technical snag.
2 बार हमारी ये फ़्लाइट कैंसिल हुई है और एयर इंडिया कोई जवाब नहीं देते। हम मैसेज भी करते तो इतना होल्ड होता है, हमको 15-15 मिनट होल्ड रखना पड़ता है और हमको सामने से भी अच्छा कोई रिस्पांस नहीं आता है एयर इंडिया में से। अब हम लोग अभी अगली बार से एयर इंडिया में आने वाले नहीं है।
हम इधर आए तो बता रहे थे कि फ़्लाइट है वो डिले हुई है 3 आवर्स, सो हमको 1 PM की जगह 3 PM का टाइम दिया। और अभी जब टाइम बोर्डिंग का आया, अंदर जाने का आया, चेक इन का टाइम आया तो वो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि अब फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई है। सो वो लोग अच्छे से रिफंड का भी आंसर नहीं दे रहे हैं। हम लोग कॉल सेंटर में बात कर रहे हैं, वहाँ भी कोई भी कॉल रिसीव नहीं कर रहा है।
Each and every person is giving a different reply. One is saying that there is some technical issue. The second one is saying that there is a delay in the flight to reach here from Delhi to Ahmedabad. Therefore, today takeoff is not possible. And other reasons are being stated which are not plausible.
From short-haul domestic to high-profile international routes, technical snags seem to follow the Air India logo across skies and runways. And these are just incidents from the last few days. And despite this, a templated response is all that follows. DGCA summoned Air India Engineering Department head earlier in the day. Aviation authorities are watching, but are they acting? How many more cancelled flights? How many more safety scares? How many more hours must passengers spend stranded without answers?
I mean, this is completely crazy today. It's crazy. It's madness. It's madness. 6 Dreamliner planes have been cancelled. 6. Sandeep, this is madness. This is crazy. This is extraordinary. And look at the arrogance of Air India. They put out a plagiarized statement, I think. The statement of this fellow, this disaster, Campbell Wilson, who Tata Group is supporting till now, appears to be plagiarized from the statement of the American Airlines CEO, some Robert Isom in the US following a fatal crash there. And if it is not plagiarized, that means it's standard industry language and SOP playbook. We're very sorry, blah, 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 insincere nonsense. Now the question is, Parvez, you support Air India after this. Why is Air India flying the Dreamliners? 6 cases in one day. Sorry. Would you take a Dreamliner of Air India tomorrow? Would you take an Air India Dreamliner plane tomorrow, Parvez? Would you?
No, I would not, and I would not let my family fly on it. This kind of behavior from Air India and a Tata Group company is absolutely shocking. I would not have ever expected them to be behaved this way. The passenger service standards and the safety standards cannot be compromised by any airline, maybe A, B, C, D. So there is no excuse for this kind of behavior. This level of cancellation and delays is not acceptable. If they're not sure with the problems with the Dreamliner 787, it would be absolutely a basic courtesy to ground this fleet, make all the correction, do whatever is required to set the fleet right, and then start flying. And the consumer is treated this way. It's very, very shabby and a very sad day for Indian Airlines.
You know, we keep talking about, Tata Group, JRD Tata. JRD Tata started it.
I am shocked with this behavior. I am shocked with the standards of safety and service. Forget safety. Safety is, of course, priority number 1. But service, no communication to the passenger, delays, cancellation on short hauls, long hauls, everywhere. This kind of standards are not expected from a Tata Group company, and they have to take people to task, whether it's the head of engineering, whether the CEO, heads have to roll, Tatas have to sharpen up their act. This is not acceptable. I'm sure the DGCA is on them. And
No, but we were always told, we ask a few questions, Tata Group, does the Republic Group know how to run an airline? If the Republic Group does not know how to run an airline, let the Tata Group do it. You guys shut up, what do you know, blah, blah, blah. You heard that argument. I'm saying Parvez Damania says today that Air India and the Tata Group, he says Air India and the Tata Group, their behavior is shocking. And I know
absolutely shocking.
It's absolutely
shocking, absolutely unacceptable, and cannot be tolerated. The way the consumer is being treated is really sad. It's a sad day for Indian Airlines and aviation in India. Was the crash where so many people have lost their lives. Up till now, no real explanations have come forth. We, till today, so many days have passed, do not know the exact reason for the crash. No serious explanation has come forward. Only theories are coming forward. Tata Group by now should come forward with a very clear statement and taking action and what they've done for the cause and the cause of this accident. Nobody knows. Everybody's just guessing. Tatas have not come up with a clear-cut answer to the reason.
5 or 6 Dreamliners, 6 I think Dreamliners cancel. And I would have thought, Sandeep, the least the Tata Group is not going to collapse financially if it stops flying the Dreamliner for a while.
No, they will not collapse. The airline
nothing will happen and people will find alternative ways of traveling. But the point is, Sandeep, you take a risk. Parvez Damania says, I would not fly a Dreamliner, neither would my family fly a Dreamliner on Air India today.
I normally am very brief on your shows, but today allow me 30 seconds because I have a lot of a few important points to make. I think at the moment, the Air India, and I would extend to Tata Group, is having a leadership crisis. There is a total leadership crisis, and there is no idea of crisis management. I was just reading a long tweet, and I presume it is true. Today, at the cremation of this captain, there was not a single senior Tata Group representative, not the managing director, not any of their board members, and forget anybody from Tata sons who was present there. I personally recall, Arnab, in 1993, there was an Indian Airlines crash in which 2 of my colleagues passed away. My companies, not only the entire board, the chairman, but all past chairmen who were alive, they were all there at the crematorium with the family. And this just shows the lack of empathy, the lack of connect. And everything else which you're hearing, Arnab, I was reading an explanation about the Bangalore flight cancellation. Again, as you were saying, a templated response. The flight was cancelled because of lack of availability of aircraft, which happened because of the mandated, testing which the DGCA has recommended. And we had informed all the passengers. Whereas, as you're hearing, most of the cases, passengers are not. So there is also a morale issue among the existing staff. And that is a big issue. I'm not getting into the other points which you've already covered, and I'm sure others will talk. But what is the leadership doing? An organization like Tata Sons should step in there, because if your morale is destroyed down the line, so whatever you have will collapse. It's not just a question of the brand. And where will if people are losing, therefore, whether it's a Dreamliner or anything, people will not have the confidence to fly Air India if they think that, down the line there is total demoralization. And this is a very, very serious issue. You cited Supriya Sule's case, and where the Minister of Civil Aviation is replying, but where is even Air India or anybody responding to that? With due credit, we all criticize Indigo. If you did a tweet, next moment, at least a social media cell response. Here, total silence. I think that shows a callousness, but more importantly, what is worrying is, which one didn't expect from a private sector organization like Tata Sons. I could understand it from the old PSU, that there is this level of insensitivity and lack of leadership.
No, I think that's shocking. I felt so bad that at a time when all the people are so angry. I mean, I really think, what is the Civil Aviation Minister doing? Civil Aviation Minister, Supriya Sule says, I am very angry, my plane is 3 hours late, very bad, very bad. Oh, Miss Sule, immediate reply. Oh, Ms. Sule, we are very concerned. We are looking into it. I have issued instructions so that you are not put into any trouble. I mean, at a time when 270, 280, maybe God knows how many, probably 300 people have died, Civil Aviation Minister Rahul Ishwar responds within seconds to Sharad Pawar's daughter as if nobody else is a lesser citizen. 6 Dreamliners cancelled. Tata Group picks up what appears to be a plagiarized statement and tells Alex Campbell Wilson to read it. People are being taken for a royal ride in this country. Rahul Ishwar.
And Arnabji,
royal ride in this country.
Everyone expected, the Air India standards to go up when Tata came in. And it's unfortunate that people are not feeling the trust. And it's very important to feel safe. As many of the people said, let's be very honest. If my family or I have to go in Air India, we will definitely have a rethink before going. And Air India at one point of time, was one of the iconic brands. This is the reason why, as I totally agree with all the panelists, there's a leadership crisis. They need to come in. They need to give reassurance. And Arnabji may remember 2020, Air India under the other leadership, in Kozhikode, my own home state, nearly 21 people died because of the overshooting of the runway. See, these kind of things really scare people. And I hope Air India, should definitely answer. I had an opportunity. Right now I'm in Pune, Maharashtra. Starting from Kerala, I felt it is more safer than other airlines. So this is the space where the leadership should proactively work. They should communicate their empathy to the people. And there has been many such scares. I've been checking for the past news, and there have been many incidents regarding such reported over the past many years. It's high time the leadership seriously approaches this, address these concerns.
No, they won't, because they're outsourcing it. Their problem with the people managing stuff for the Tata Group is they probably think this is a PR crisis. No, it's not. It's a Tata Sons crisis. It's a Tata Group crisis. It's an Air India crisis. Don't think this is a PR crisis. It's an organizational crisis. And my question is, would JRD Tata have allowed this mess in Air India if he were alive today, if he were in charge today, Mr. Damania? Would JRD Tata have said, fly the Dreamliners, doesn't matter?
If you remember, when there was a
JRD Tata would not have compromised the lives of passengers.
He would have at least spoken. Ratan Tata ji himself went to every funeral, met every family, and he showed real courage and leadership. This kind of leadership is definitely lacking. This crisis is not small. 270, 280 people have died. We don't even know what has happened to the number of people in the hostels. How many bodies have not found? The team of Tata's leadership, including the Tata Sons, should be meeting the family, attending funerals.
No, I think the government should also ask the civil aviation minister of the country. The government, the central government. I'm nobody to advise. But if I were to say that today it looks bad, that civil aviation minister responds immediately to Sharad Pawar's daughter. That I'm sorry. But what about the number of people? Does the civil aviation minister know? Does the civil aviation minister in the Modi government know how many people have died? How many Air India people, passengers suffer every day? I'm sorry, but would the civil aviation minister tell me how many ordinary Indians he responds to on a daily basis within minutes? Or does the civil aviation minister feel answerable only to Sharad Pawar's daughter? Because NCP Sharad Pawar is a prospective ally in the Modi government. Somebody is going to have to speak up for this mess. This is favoritism. This is wrong. This is taking the people for a ride, and this is making the people of this country very, very angry. Extremely angry. Captain Tanushri Bhalla is a whistleblower. She's a former Boeing 737 MEIR pilot. She's an attorney jurist in the Supreme Court. And I'd like your views today. Captain Bhalla, just tell me one thing first. I put you, and they've got Captain Kabir Malik also. They say, Arnab, do you know how to fly a plane? Does Republic know how to run a plane? So shut up and keep quiet. That's what these pro-Air India people tell me. As a person, I'm saying, why are 6 Dreamliners being cancelled? I asked someone today. They said, you're responsible. I said, why am I responsible? They said, now the pilots are worried because you guys in the media are picking it up. I said, this is the most insane argument I've heard so far. I don't know what's going on, Captain.
I would like to weigh in on that, Arnab. First of all, I would like to compliment you and Republic for being so vociferous on this. Pilots, any sane pilot would actually be happy about this. I know there are management pilots who would always come out in the favor of the management, and okay, that's their job. But the fact is that I would request any pilot on the panel to answer, aren't we persecuted when we refuse to fly a bad aircraft? And I can give many examples. Bhavya Suneja's JT610. He was a close friend. I remember, and we knew each other through another pilot friend of mine who I knew for 32 years. And one fine morning he calls me and he says, Tanu, Bhavya is no more. His mother is flying to Indonesia. Please make sure there's no issue, because my friend wasn't in India. You can't replace lives with 1 CR. That's how much these pilots earn, we as pilots earn in a year. You can't replace a father. You can't replace somebody from a big 4 company. That's what they earn in a year. That's not about money. It's about regulations. Secondly, we are persecuted as pilots. Our FDTLs are constantly violated. Female pilots are seldom given, official accommodations for that time of the month. There is the issue, the regulatory issue, since Mr. Arnab Goswami was questioning the Civil Aviation Ministry. There is that issue of the 20-kilometer construction restriction. You see, recently, Mr. Goswami, there has been a lot of construction around airports. We can see Vasant Kunj in Delhi. That's really built along the approach roads. There's MP and then there's Gujarat. And there was this, and a lot of this land has been allotted to colleges. If you are handling a beast like an elephant. You have to give space for error. And it is very easy to blame the pilots. It has become a fashion to blame the pilots because they can, you get to avoid liability by this. And the DGCA is not being fair either. So how do you explain that? And about SRDs, one more thing I would like to bring here, which is not in public domain. Air India, before its acquisition back between 2012 and 2017, had special recruitment drives. And if everybody knows, special recruitment drives are done on the basis of caste. Merit is not seen in those. And special recruitment drives in fields like aviation for pilots and medical fields is clearly mentioned as not requisite and not advisable in the constitution of the country. Then how was Air India doing SRDs and overlooking merit? And how has the DGCA and the training division gone through it and seen that this was rectified? Does anybody have answer to that?
So you're saying there's favoritism, there's corruption, there's bad methods, but you see what happens is now, Captain Tanushree, you know, we are always told our civil aviation sector is a great shining example of how well the country is doing. Is it? Just because people have to fly, does that make the aviation sector a success? I don't think so. I think people in this country, flyers are taken for a royal ride. The Civil Aviation Minister of India in the Modi government must tell me why he chose to respond to Sharad Pawar's daughter. How is she so important? This is the problem. Nothing has changed in this country as far as passenger flying is concerned. Captain, you tell me, Captain Kabir Malik, you are defending the airlines. Why are 6 Dreamliners being cancelled in one day? By one airline called Air India.
Facts, Mr. No, I would like to address you regarding these things. Why did it happen? If you know, on 12th of June, what was happened with the same machinery? It was sunk in the grave of fire along with 42 people, and almost 241 has been died in this incident. After that, there is one guideline had been issued by the DGCA that all the Dreamliner which is come in the same category like 787 and rest of other also soon will be grounded. And I'm just
why have they not been grounded so far?
Yeah.
Why have they not been grounded so far today? Why have the Dreamliners not been grounded so far? Don't tell me. Air India is doing it in national interest.
Right.
National interest or commercial interest?
Yeah, it's a commercial interest. I do agree. But there is a point. If you just let me come to the point. After that, those machines were on the sortie on the final, final round. So these are all on the air that time. The moment they came back, and there is after that some checks had been done by the technicians on the ground, like in Calcutta, and rest of 2, 3 or more flights. They found that some hydraulical this leakage, and there is some problem with.
Sir, I want to know today. I am a 1 minute. So I am an enlightened citizen today. If you can't today, and this is Tata Group Air, you can't say today, okay, just get off the plane, man. We have technical problems. A plane, San Francisco to Mumbai, okay, not Dreamliner, it's a Boeing 777-200 LR, arrives in time. Technical snag in left plane, left engine, takeoff gets delayed. I want to know what is the technical snag in the left engine. I am told, why should you know? You are a flyer. What do you know? What knowledge do you want? You get into the plane, put on your seatbelt, take off your seatbelt and get out. This is no way of treating me. There's been a crash 2 days before. Today, 6 Dreamliners have been cancelled. And Civil Aviation Minister responds to Supriya Sule. Will he respond to Rahul Ishwar? Will Civil Aviation Minister respond to J. Venkateshwar Rao? Or do you have to be a politician's child to get a response? I mean, I don't know. J. Venkateshwar Rao, this is crazy. When you raise questions, you say you're accused of defamation. They take you to court, they threaten you, etc. Right?
I appreciate this question that there is a VIP culture in India. You know very well. Why they're
No, but
responding
Tata
to
Group has the VIP
everywhere,
culture
not
gone.
in this Tata Group. Not in this Tata Group. Is in every airline, or you can see in every sector. There is the most welcome of the VIP.
Sir,
I do agree.
Six
thing is
planes cancelled. Six planes cancelled.
Yes, it was in the routine and the guideline issued by the DGCA.
6 planes
it
cancelled.
was earlier, but why they took time to ground on this, and they just giving reason behind
So
that.
why is Campbell Wilson still sitting in office? Because Air India thinks that removing Campbell Wilson will be an admission of guilt. Mr. Rao, how do you view the current situation? Nightmare, should I say?
Yeah, Arnab, just give me at least 30 seconds to speak. You're doing a lot of disservice to JRD Tata by even mentioning his name on these programs. He would not brook a single violation